So, welcome to Tasting with Matt and Mike, and once again, our brother-in-law, nephew-in-law, whatever you want to put it, Pete Reinert is here with us. And today we thought we would taste rye whiskeys from the Mount Vernon Distillery, George Washington Rye.
Mm-hmm.
We've got three expressions. The first one is an unaged rye, white dog. The second one is a 2-year-old aged rye whiskey, and the last one is a 4-year, 2-month, I believe, old rye whiskey.
Okay.
So the first one is the unaged. This is a signed bottle. This is the bottle I got when Steve Bashore was in Louisville at one of the Oxmoor bourbon salons. And so it's actually signed by me, Lisa Wicker, Marianne Eves, and Joyce Nethery, and actually also Sean Stevens, who worked at Vendome at the time. He's retired now.
Oh, okay.
So he actually worked on making the stills there at Mount Vernon.
Oh.
So Mount Vernon is a very interesting distillery. It is a true 18th century distillery. They're heating the copper pot stills with wood fire, direct heat. And they're fermenting it and distilling from a wort and doing things as close to as they were done in George Washington's day as you could get. The only thing that he's taken a shortcut on is that he has put in a boiler system to heat the water to actually do the cooking. You know, he still has to bucket in the water and everything,
Right.
but the boiler heats the water, and then he can just, you know.
So what do they used to do? Like just.
Well, they'd have to heat heat the water in the stills,
Mm-hmm.
and then use that water to do their cooking.
Gotcha.
So anyway, this is the unaged new make whiskey, rye whiskey. Steve Bashore, their distiller, got the job because he was also the miller there. So they have a water mill, and they actually grind the grains at the mill. Once again, as close as you can get to the 18th century as you could get.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
So, and this is a pretty, about a 60-70% rye with corn, and then only like 5% malt is all they're using. Because that's based upon what they did in Washington's time. They used his ledgers to figure out what his mash bill probably would have been. So you get that ryegrass
And the corn.
in the corn, but you also get a little bit of a fruity nature to it, probably from the yeast. You know, I'd almost say like peaches,
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say citrus.
citrus. But let's taste it. You know, for an unaged whiskey, new make whiskey, it's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
It's 86 proof, but you're not getting a lot of burn.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting a little bit of that fruitiness. You get the ryegrass.
I get a lot of that
course.
fruitiness. Yeah, rye and the fruitiness. I'm even getting like a hint of like vanilla in there.
Yeah. Well, you know, I'm getting a little bit of a spice in there too, like maybe a little bit of a cardamom, maybe. Kind of that
Yeah.
citrusy, spicy flavor.
I got vanilla and a little slight hint of peach.
Peach. Okay. And the finish is pretty clean. I mean, I'm still getting a little bit of that rye and fruit on the
Yeah.
finish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for new make, it's not bad at all.
Right.
It's really good for
So let's try it with cranberries. See what- really brings out the ryegrass
The citrus.
and that to me, that cardamom spice, that citrus, spicy.
I'm getting peach and a kind of that cardamom citrus. Spice
I'm getting
now.
the peach, but it's mostly on the finish.
Yeah. I mean, that's not half bad with a cran. You
No.
know, that's actually pretty good.
No, I mean, well, it's pretty good rye whiskey to,
Yeah.
or new make, rye new
New
make.
make, right,
Technically,
yeah.
it's not a whiskey because it hasn't touched oak.
Ah, yes.
It's not whiskey until it touches oak.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a new make spirit.
There you go.
Well, let's cleanse our palate. And
Oh yeah.
let's try with the pecan.
Now, did he sell the new make there when he, or did he just bring a bottle when he came to the?
He just brought some bottles when he came to the event, and he donated them to Oxmoor, and we auctioned them off to raise a little money for him.
Oh, okay.
And Rosemary bought that one.
That really brings up the peach.
Yeah.
For me. I'm even getting like it's a peppery finish, but
Yeah, the finish, the spice becomes more of a white pepper, I think.
yeah.
That kind of a floral pepper.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I would drink this, without it touching the barrel. So
Yeah, I mean,
it says a lot
it-
for it, you know.
Very good without it.
You know,
Yeah.
Steve Bashore will be the first to tell you that he has learned a lot from everybody that comes in and makes whiskey with him. And he's very fortunate in that everybody wants to come to Mount Vernon and make whiskey at that distillery.
Yeah, it seems like a really cool place.
Right.
I can't wait to visit it.
But Steve will also be the first to tell you that the person that's influenced him probably the most is Lisa Wicker.
Oh, really?
She has been there just about every year for the last 4 or 5 years, and helping him make whiskey, and actually she's also helped him make some brandy and other things as well.
So he was a miller first, and then
a distiller, became the distiller.
Then became the distiller. So he kind of was like, he hadn't distilled anything beforehand.
No, so he's learned everything from, you know, and all the master distillers have been involved in this project up there. I went there the first year that they made some whiskey. They had actually, it's not one of the stills they use. It's actually a smaller version of it, only about a 25, 30 gallon still. And there was, you know, Jimmy Russell, Lincoln Henderson, Chris Morris,
Who's who? Of,
Jim Rutledge. I mean, just about everybody. I mean, there was more than I can think of right off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Sitting there making whiskey on this pot still over an open fire.
Man, that's cool.
Yeah. So the next thing we have here is their 2-year-old aged rye. This was distilled in 2016. It's 86 proof as well. And he uses 53 gallon barrels for the most part, but he has made some with 20 and 30 gallon barrels too. But I think all of the stuff that that we have aged here were all from 53 gallon barrels.
Okay. Now the smaller barrel, you would get more. Would you get more of the wood with the smaller barrel? Would it?
You get it quicker.
You get it quicker.
Well, you get more of the tannins quicker. You know, you really have to know how to treat the smaller barrels right to get a good whiskey out of it. Steve did okay with it.
Yeah.
You know.
So they can just end up tasting just like the barrel. A little bit
Right.
too
Yeah.
much
Well,
barrel.
it just tastes like nothing but the oak tannins,
Mhm.
and that's not really what you want from the barrel. You want oak tannins, but you also want that caramel and that vanilla and other flavors that come.
Mhm.
So let's see what the Oh, the peach is on this nose.
Oh yeah.
I mean, as it ages, that peach is really coming out.
That's all I'm getting is peach.
Well, I'm getting a little vanilla.
And I'm
Just-
still getting a little bit of that cardamom as well.
Yeah, a little bit of that cardamom spice. See, and I'm getting a little bit of that rye grass, that rye herbalness. You know, it's,
I mean, that smells exceptional for 2-year-old.
yeah. Well, let's take a sip and see what. Oh
That's good. I get peach, and I end up getting a black pepper on the finish. Like,
yeah. Yeah. You know, in the taste, the spice is cardamom, but as it goes into the finish, it starts changing into black pepper to where the after a while the finish is like oak and black pepper.
So I got the peach at the front, and then
Right.
the spices.
Yeah.
Right.
I didn't get the pepper at the end, but
It hit me like right back there. Yeah. It's really good.
Yeah, for 2-year-old whiskey.
2-year-old whiskey, that's good stuff. Yeah.
So let's try it with the cranberry, see what it does.
I got a lot of pepper.
Yeah, that kicks
Yeah.
out the pepper.
Right.
So get the peach.
You get the peach, but not as strong.
It's not strong. Yeah, it took away some of the sweetness of the.
Yeah, it made it more of a spicy.
Which I like. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can,
But you would think, you know, the cranberry being concentrated sugar, dried fruit, you know, concentrates the sugars. You would think that that would make the whiskey sweeter, you know, into it. And a lot of times when we do these, it does.
It does. Yeah.
But in this case, it kind of took the sweetness out almost. It made it spicy.
Yeah. Made it. Yeah. You can definitely tell like the complexities really ramped up. You know, from the new. You know, from the new make, of course. Yeah. I mean, for 2-year-old, that's really good stuff. Yeah. Let's try it with a.
Yeah, let's try it for the time. Now that's interesting. The peach comes back.
But it's milder than it was when it was
Yeah.
by itself.
Yeah.
It is milder one, but the peach comes back. But the pepper, to me, it isn't so peppery as it is that cardamom, that spicy lemon citrus.
Yeah.
And in the end, it is like oak and cardamom.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm getting the same things.
I like this with the pecan.
Oh, that's good whiskey all the way around.
Yeah.
Cleanse my palate here. So the final one we have is a 4-year-old. This is actually 4 years, 2 months. It's bottle 113. It was bottled in the year 2019.
Okay. Year before all this happened.
Yeah, the year before
Who-
COVID.
Nobody saw it coming.
And once again, it's 86 proof.
I wonder how much more bourbon has sold last year than compared to like years before. Just because nobody can.
Whiskey sales do improve when they. And that is the one drawback to the Mount Vernon, is that it's really expensive. This George Washington Rye is expensive.
It is.
It's only sold at Mount Vernon, and one of these small bottles is like $200.
Yeah.
But the way I look at it, you're making a $200 donation to Mount Vernon, and you get a bottle of whiskey. as
Right.
well.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the sales of this whiskey goes not only to support the distillery, but it also goes to support the mill, the house, the lands around it, it all goes into a central fund that helps pay off bills. And believe
Preserving
me, an
history.
old house like that has a lot of bills.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. So you're preserving history,
And getting
and you're
good,
getting some good whiskey.
getting some good whiskey.
Yeah.
And you could probably take a tax write-off too.
Hey, there we go.
Oh wow! See, I'm getting that peach, and I'm actually getting a little chocolate.
Milk chocolate.
Milk chocolate, yeah. Not much spice, just a hint of oak.
Yeah, the oak is definitely coming through now.
Yeah,
In the 4-year-old.
and like I said, that peach is like a real ripe peach
Mm-hmm.
with a little chocolate.
Yeah, the chocolate's, you could barely get it, but it's there.
Yeah.
Yeah. The more I nose it, definitely the more that, milk, creamy chocolate.
Mm. So let's taste it and see what it does.
Wow.
Oh, wow. You get a little bit of that rye grassiness still.
Mm-hmm.
To me, this had the most of the rye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's that little bit of peach, but there's also that little bit of milk chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's
there's that cardamom spice again.
Yeah.
And I'm getting a lot of peach right now. That's the
Mhm.
after.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the peach actually comes through stronger on the finish.
Mm.
I'm getting a lot of oak and peach.
Yeah, it was creamy. Like with the milk chocolate, I don't know. It had like a creamy mouthfeel for me.
Yeah.
Which I love that when I get a bourbon like that. You know, it's like
Well, you know, he distills this at a fairly low proof, and I believe he puts it in the barrel at a fairly low proof. I'm thinking the barrel proof on these ryes is like 100 or 101.
wow, that's really low.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
That's
mean,
why he bottles them at 86, because a lot of times the proof drops a little, and
mhm. Yeah, this is really good stuff. I mean,
yeah.
worth $200, I would say.
So
Like,
let's
it's
see
that
what our
good.
cranberry does to it.
Without making a donation. Yeah, it's worth $200. I think we've tried a lot of whiskey that, was up there in price that you wouldn't pay more than $40 for. You know?
Right.
So.
That's interesting.
See, that getting the peach up for me.
Yeah, it's almost like a peach cobbler.
Mm-hmm.
With
You know,
the
that
two-year-old.
kind of a buttery, cooked peach, stewed peach, with a little bit of that, crustiness. Don't really want to say dough, but more of the grain, like
Mhm.
you get from a crisp piece of crust in a cobbler.
Yeah, and like I don't know, I got a hint of cinnamon.
Yeah.
In the finish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, the finish, that makes the finish more cinnamon than nutmeg, I think.
Mm-hmm. Which I think improves.
Yeah.
Improves it. I mean, it's
It's interesting how in the 2-year, the peach was kind of more subdued, but on the 4-year, it's kicked up a notch or two.
yeah, it takes
Yeah.
goes up a level. Yeah.
Let's see what a pecan does.
That brought out the milk chocolate again.
Yeah.
A hint of smokiness for me. And then-
More of the wood tannins.
Yeah.
A little bit more of the wood oak.
yeah, the oaky.
It's not bitter tannins,
Right.
but if it was a little bit more tannins, it would become bitter, I think.
I think
It has
so.
the right amount of tannin.
Right.
Mm-hmm. The finish is peppery, not as much cinnamon, but more peppery, maybe.
Yeah.
I'd still go with black pepper. But overall, I mean, pretty amazing whiskey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Well, cheers.
Cheers. Keep drinking.
Yeah. So support George Washington's Rye and Mount Vernon.